NBI files charges against former Customs Commissioner Isidro Lapena and other officials over multi-billion SHABU smuggling mess. President Duterte says he is open to the idea of penalizing parents of children in conflict with the law as lower house changes proposal to peg the age of criminal responsibility at 12 years old. And Commission on Human Rights still slams proposal to lower minimum age of criminal liability, pushing instead for the proper implementation of Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act. Good evening. The National Bureau of Investigation has filed criminal and administrative complaints against former Customs Commissioner Isidro Lapena and several other officials over the 11 billion peso SHABU shipment which slipped past the Bureau of Customs last year. Mai Bermudez explains why.
Several administrative and criminal complaints were filed against former Customs Commissioner and now TESDA Director General Isidro Lapena over the 11 billion peso SHABU shipment which slipped past the Bureau of Customs. This is the third complaint that Lapena is facing before the Justice Department. 50 others were also named in the charge sheet, including ex-Port of Manila District Collector Villamor-Camara and X-ray Inspection Project Head Zakari de Guzman. Based on the complaint filed by the National Bureau of Investigation, Lapena was not off the hook over his failure to charge the consignees, importers, and brokers of the magnetic lifters used in smuggling the SHABU shipment. 2 of the magnetic lifters containing SHABU were seized at the Port of Manila, while 4 others were found already empty at a warehouse in GMA Cavite. Meanwhile, former officials Police Senior Superintendent Eduardo Asierto, former PIDEA Deputy Director for Administration Ismael Fajardo, former Customs X-ray Inspector Jimmy Guban, Deputy Commissioner Ricardo Quinto, and Police Inspector Lito Perote are facing charges for violation of Section 4 of RA 9165 for importation of illegal drugs, graft, and grave misconduct. Similar drug charges were previously filed by PIDEA against the same respondents, but Lapena was spared since, according to their investigators, there is no evidence directly linking him to the smuggling of the SHABU shipment. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Customs Commissioner Ray Leonardo Guerrero unveils his 10-point reform plan for 2019, which underscores the implementation of operational efficiencies. Here's why from JL Asay.
Customs Chief Ray Leonardo Guerrero releases today the list of his priority program for this year to further strengthen the Bureau of Customs and to mainly anchor on efficiency the delivery of its service and operation. Guerrero says he outlined his 10-point program to set the tone and define the way forward for the Bureau, stressing that it is important for all the BOC employees to focus on the list of priorities. First in the list is the enhancement of the Bureau of Customs Information and Technology System. Guerrero says he plans to improve the Bureau's process by automating and integrating its system for more efficient and effective operations. Guerrero also wants to fill up vacant plantilla positions by hiring capable and committee manpower to fulfill the mandate of the BOC and implement promotions and reward system to motivate people to perform their jobs better. The Customs Chief also looks to restructure the BOC organization by creating new offices and positions and merging overlapping functions in the interest of upgrading the institution.
Ang sinasabi ko ay nag-conduct ako ng evaluation at natapos na yung evaluation period at nagsubmit na ako ng recommendation ko as far as yung who should be assigned to what position at sabi ko dahil nga mga presidential appointees ang karamihan, hayaan na lang natin na Malacanang magdesisyon.
Guerrero also plans to enhance BOC's cargo clearance and examination capabilities as well as its intelligence and enforcement capability to further strengthen border security and economic development. Guerrero says these priorities are anchored in improving individuals and organizational efficiency and strengthening institutional capabilities. The BOC chief also commanded his employees to work more on achieving this year's target revenue collection of 677 billion pesos. Guerrero also vowed to address and keep a tight watch over corruption to ensure that the mess that hounded the Bureau in the past months will no longer be repeated. Guerrero announced that the BOC procured additional 50 X-ray machines that are capable of screening large shipments that may contain illegal materials.
We are procuring other equipment that would allow us to detect yung drugs. So may mga spectrometer tayo na plano kunin. May mga portable na rin tayo ng mga box cutter na ginagamit natin dito for us to examine yung ibang mga shipments.
JL Asayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
President Rodrigo Duterte is open to the idea of imposing penalties to parents of children in conflict with the law once they are proven to be neglectful of their duties. Duterte also says he is okay with the lower house's decision to peg the minimum age of criminal responsibility at 12 years old. Rosalie Calls tells us why.
The House of Representatives approved on second reading the bill seeking to lower the minimum age of criminal responsibility to 12 years old. The move came after several lawmakers and child rights groups slammed the previous proposal to lower the minimum age of criminal accountability at 9.
Well, if it's the final
House vote.
decision, I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with it. As long as they above 12, below 16, yung indeterminate sentence law lang, papasok lang, okay.
Duterte, however, refused to directly answer questions if he supports the proposal to peg the minimum age of criminal liability at 9 years old.
So you would wanted it to be 9? You would have wanted it to be 9 despite of...
Well, sabi ko, isauli lang ninyo if you cannot agree. Return to the original law. But if you have some other ideas in mind, I'm open to it. I'm not suggestion ko na.
Sir, ang tayo po ba hindi masyadong bata?
Alam mo, bakit gusto? You really want the rationale. Kasi ko gusto ko at that age, pati ang parents must be conscious of the criminal accountability already.
The chief executive also said that he is open to the idea of penalizing parents of children in conflict with the law once they are proven to be neglectful of their duties. He explained that parents must also be conscious of the criminal accountability of their children as they may also face sanctions for being neglectful of their duties.
Any violation of law ng bata ngayon at nagkulang yung supervision and vigilance ng parents, sila ang ididemanda.
Rosalie Coza, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Law experts remain opposed to lowering the minimum age of criminal responsibility. This despite the lawmakers' decision to change to 12 years old from the original proposal of 9 years of age. Mai Bermudez tells us why.
The bill lowering the minimum age of criminal responsibility hurdles the House of Representatives on second reading. Tweaking the original version of the House Justice Committee, the lower house now wants children as young as 12 years old be criminally responsible instead of the original 9 years old. Legal experts, though, are not buying this legislative maneuver. Former Supreme Court spokesperson Attorney Duterte says, maybe all along, the agenda of the lawmakers is to lower the minimum age of criminal responsibility from 15 to 12 years old. He calls it the oldest trick in the book, a misdirection, by floating a bill so horribly monstrous so that anything else would be better. Professor Tony Lavinia, meantime, says this will not solve the problem that the government seeks to address with the bill. That is the increasing number of minors involved in criminal activities. He calls on the government to focus on rehabilitating children in conflict with the law rather than treating them as criminals.
Pero yung below 15, hindi mo siya dapat i-treat na criminal. I-treat mo siya dapat na may problema, in conflict with the law. In fact, that's the right term, children in conflict with the law. Sana yung batas na ito hindi ito about criminal liability, criminal responsibility. It will just be about children in conflict with the law.
The Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, also expressed alarm over the issue. CHR spokesperson Attorney Jacqueline Andeguia says lowering the minimum age of criminal liability will not show that the state is providing protection or showing sympathy for them. She calls for the strict and full implementation of the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act, which enjoins local governments to establish, fund, and manage all Bahay Pag-asa facilities for children in conflict with the law. Until now, there are only 58 existing reformative facilities in the country. The Right Commission further said the government should go after individuals and syndicates who are using children in their criminal activities instead of focusing the blame on these hapless minors. Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Some teachers are also questioning moves to lower the minimum age of criminal responsibility, with a play therapist warning of possible negative effects if a person is held criminally liable at an early age. Here's why from Eileen Cerudo.
A child might experience trauma if he or she is subjected to any type of criminal prosecution at an early age. Play therapist Juan Sakin says there are negative effects in a child if he or she gets separated from their family and be placed in an unfamiliar place where his actions will be limited.
They have less time with their parents. They have less time to be outside, to be conforming to the societal norms.
Sakin explains a child still lacks the neural development and capacity to form criminal intent and requisite culpability, and that placing him or her in a limited environment might cause negative effects like delays in learning.
Nagde-develop pa lang yung mga decision-making skills nila, tsaka sa pagiging young adults nila. Yung morality nila, hindi pa ganun ka-develop.
An elementary teacher also believes that lowering the age of criminal responsibility cannot aid in disciplining a child who committed an offense.
Kung ibababa yun, sa tingin ko mas maraming gagawa ng krimen. Makalabas sila after yung sinasabi ay parang age 25, gagawa sila ng krimen uli. Kasi nga nasanay na sila sa mga kasama nila doon.
Isipin natin, pag nakipaglaro sila at may mga nasaktan, pwedeng ma-charge yun as physical abuse. Pag nanghiram sila na hindi nagpapaalam, pwedeng theft yun, di ba? And many other cases.
Several parents have admitted to having no full control of factors or subjects influencing their child when they are outside their home. They believe that a stricter discipline is needed to hone their children to become better individuals in the future.
Kausapin mo ng maayos. Pwede rin sigurong medyo patikimin mo ng konti.
Nababalo sa puwet, nasisigawan, napapagalitan, andun magulang eh.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV, News and Rescue.
OPM singer Topaz admits having difficulty in choosing who among his remaining Wishcoveries will move to the second round of vocal showdown during the semi-finals of Wishcovery Season 2, The Singer and the Song. Robbie De Guzman tells us why.
Wishcovery's undercamp Topaz may have different singing styles and genres, but they are one in having determination to continue their journey in the Wishcovery Season 2, The Singer and the Song. From Cebu, they flew to Manila for a vocal showdown in the first semi-final round. They are Phoebe Olores, Ray Anortuste, Nashreen Casas, Christian Rosa,
I wanna say I love you. I hope that you're listening, cause it's true.
and wildcard Winsel Selma.
Ayaw ko lang mangarap, ayaw ko lang tumingin, ayaw ko lang manalamin, nasasaktan ang damdamin.
Composer Wishcoverer Topaz admitted to having difficulty in choosing who among his remaining bets will advance to round 2 because of their unique singing prowess and performances. But in the end, Susara picked Nashreen and Winsel to battle in the next phase.
Kaya po dahil hindi ko po in-expect na ako po yung makikiling sa top. Dahil po magagaling din po yung mga kasama ko ng natiguan.
Mas naging challenge po ako at mas naging determined po para
kumanta lalo at nagbukas rin yung door ng pagiging magaling na singer.
Aside from Cesara, Rani Raimundo and Junji Marcelo have all revealed their respective camps' representatives for the next round. Venny Saturno will take his turn in unveiling his top 2 bets at 9:30 tonight through Wish YouTube channel. Robbie De Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue.
Up next on Y News. Philippine economy slows to 6.2% in 2018 according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. NEDA sees economic potential in the creation of a new Bangsamoro region. And a new generation of archaeologists takes up hunt for the missing parts of Dead Sea Scrolls. Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with William Thio after this quick break. I'm Angela Lagunsad. Good evening.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angela Lagunsad left off. I am William Thio, and here are the headlines. The Philippine economy inches up to 6.1% in the last quarter of 2018, but misses government's full-year target of up to 6.9%. COMELEC defers the canvassing of votes in Bangsamoro plebiscite for third straight day over alleged discrepancies. And House panel to probe DENR over issuance of permits to non-compliant establishments near Manila Bay. The Philippine Statistics Authority's report that the economy inched up to 6.2% in 2018, but missed the government's full-year target of up to 6.9%. Let's find out why from Eileen Cerudo.
The Philippine economy grew by 6.1% in the fourth quarter of 2018. The Philippine Statistics Authority reports that this is slightly higher than the revised third quarter figure of 6%. But falls behind the government's target of 6.5 to 6.9% for the entire 2018. The data released by the PSA showed that the Philippines only had a 6.2% full-year growth rate in gross domestic product last year, which is lower than the 6.7% GDP growth in 2017. Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia notes that agriculture and manufacturing sectors were among the laggards of the fourth quarter, affecting the growth of the country's economy.
I looked at the export of goods and especially services. Export of services declined from 14% to 7%, 14% in 2017 to 7% 2018.
Another factor is the high commodity prices, which affected consumer purchasing habits. Pernia says there should be a boost in the country's exports and strengthen the Build program to increase the GDP.
If we really go full blast on our Build program and also make a more determined exert harder effort on improving our export performance, including service exports like tourism.
The government is targeting to reach 7 to 8% economic growth for this year. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue.
Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia believes that the economy in Mindanao will flourish once the Bangsamoro Organic Law is implemented. Pernia says the BOL may help in maintaining the peace and order situation in Mindanao, which will entice more investors in the region.
Mindanao is a land of promise, a fertile land for investors. And if the BOL can stabilize the situation in Mindanao in terms of peace, law and order, then that would certainly attract investors.
The Commission on Elections defers anew the canvassing of votes cast on day one of the plebiscite for the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law for the third straight day. This is due to alleged discrepancies in the total number of yes and no votes from the total number of registered voters after the National Plebiscite Board of Canvassers opened the certificates of canvass from Cotabato City. The ballot box from Isabela City, Basilan also arrived around 3:30 p.m. today, but the Board of Canvassers postponed it opening as they still need to resolve the issues surrounding the votes from Cotabato City. Meanwhile, Cotabato City Mayor Francis Gianni Sayadi said in a statement that they are now preparing to file multiple complaints before the Commission on Elections over the alleged vote buying and incidents of harassments that were reported by poll watchers and voters. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Metro Manila Development will probe the alleged negligence of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources on the Manila Bay. Here's why from Mon Hokson.
The House Committee on Metro Manila Development said it will investigate the Department of Environment and Natural Resources for issuing permits to non-compliant business establishments near Manila Bay. Committee Chair Winnie Castello said it is suspicious why even establishments with no sewage treatment facility were issued environmental compliance certificates. The Manila Zoo, which was ordered closed yesterday, is one of them. Earlier, members of the committee conducted inspection on Manila Bay. Castello said the past administration of the DENR should be investigated over its neglect of the condition of the Manila Bay.
Nagtataka po kami, no, bakit yung DNR nagbibigay po sila ng environmental clearance na wala naman pong STP. So this is very suspicious. And under the law, wala pong negosyo na pwede itayo kung wala pong STP. Sapagkat kung wala, obviously, at tatapon po dito ang basura.
Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary Eduardo Año said local government units who contributed to the pollution in Manila Bay will also be held liable. Año said the color of the water in Manila Bay clearly shows that it failed global standards.
Makita naman natin kung ano yung malinis na dagat eh. You go to other areas. Even in Boracay na, makita mo na yung standard niya. Ito kulay pa lang, oh. Kitang-kita na natin. I don't think kung may matapang ditong maligo dito.
Even illegal settlers along Manila Bay will be relocated once the rehabilitation starts on January 27. Año is just waiting for Simatu to announce the list of establishments that will be issued closure orders. The House Committee will begin its inquiry next week. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A new generation of archaeologists and researchers take up the hunt for missing parts of Dead Sea Scrolls in Jerusalem caves that are deeper and higher than before. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
In the cliffs high above the Dead Sea, archaeologists chip away with pickaxes, hoping to repeat one of the most sensational discoveries of the last 100 years. The finding of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The scrolls, a collection of manuscripts some more than 2,000 years old, were first found in 1947 by local Bedouin in the area of Qumran, about 20 kilometers east of Jerusalem. They gave insight into Jewish society and religion before and after the time of Jesus, and spurred a decade of exploration before the search fizzled. Recent finds have stirred fresh excitement, however, and archaeologists are probing higher and deeper than before. Hundreds of caves remain unexcavated, and the experts are racing against antiquities robbers.
In the last few years, we noticed that new pieces of scrolls and parchments arrived to the black market in the old city of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Hebron. And we realized that the Bedouin returned to the caves and started to dig again and to look for more scrolls and parchments. So it drives us to return to the caves and to be ahead of them, hopefully this time.
In 2017, Gutfeld's team discovered remains of storage jugs in a previously unexcavated cave at Qumran, though any scrolls they may have held were missing. at about 656 feet above the level of the Dead Sea. 52B is higher than where the scrolls were found in the 1950s, which may or may not have made it an ideal hiding place. Towards the back of the cave is a narrow burrow packed with debris from centuries of wind and flash floods that, when cleared, could extend about to 10 meters. Volunteers sift through buckets of dirt.
Simply, people thought there was nothing left to find. They said it had been lost in antiquity, or the Bedouin looters, particularly during the Jordanian occupation, had taken it all away. And so there just wasn't incentive to do this.
But 52B did not appear on previous surveys and could yield precious secrets, Price said. Expanding the search to further possibilities is the Copper Scroll, found in Qumran in 1952. Unlike its companions that were written on parchments or papyrus, this was a list of 64 hiding places for gold and valuables, etched on copper. Hebrew University's Gottfeld said the treasure referred to may be from the ancient Jewish temple in Jerusalem. In 2006, he finished excavating 2 man-made tunnels not far from Qumran that he believes matched a description in the Copper Scroll of the so-called Valley of Shadow. One of the tunnels, a 2-meter-high shoulder-width corridor, extended 125 meters underground. No treasure was found, but Gottfeld promised to continue searching in new spots.
I'm not a treasure hunter. I'm an archaeologist and I'm running archaeological excavations on behalf of the Hebrew University. We hope to find any hint or relationship to what we know from the text of the Copper Scroll.
Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Up next on Y News. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says no to President Donald Trump's delivery of State of Union address until government shutdown ends. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro cuts ties with the U.S. after Trump's recognition of his political rival's self-declared interim presidency. And a man in Bogota, Colombia makes a living by transforming at traffic stop. Y News returns after this quick break.